webinar series. I'm excited about what we have today. Today we're going to be talking to two virtual teachers who this is their first year teaching virtually, and they're phenomenal teachers here on campus. And so I want to take a few minutes today just to get to know them a little bit better, to hear about what it's like teaching virtually, and to see what kind of encouragement they have for all of us. So hopefully you enjoy the conversation as we talk about today's topic of virtual learning. So the two teachers I have here, I have Olivia Lemon. She's a third grade virtual teacher. And then I have Lori Tubbs. She teaches first grade. And so we're going to start just kind of by having a little conversation about them and education in general. So my first question is for you to introduce yourself. Like, why did you get into education? What experiences do you have? And did you want to be a virtual teacher, or was that kind of sprung on you? So whoever wants to go can go.
Well, I'm Olivia, and I started teaching, this is my 13th year of teaching, and I've taught first, second, third, and fourth grade. I didn't necessarily want to be a virtual teacher, but I just kind of told them that whatever they need me to do this year, I would do. So, and teaching is something that I've always wanted to do. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, so there really wasn't another option. I always tell people I don't have any other skills, and so that's why I'm a teacher.
Are you the person that like lined your dolls up and taught them?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like if my mom would have bought me an overhead projector, it would have been like the greatest gift of my life.
With those little wipe-off things?
Yeah, transparencies, vis-a-vis. Like when the teacher cleaned out, at the end of the year, I was all over it. I was like, give me everything.
What about you, Lori?
Lori Tubb here. This is my 15th year teaching, and I've taught kindergarten and first. First is my favorite. I kind of like with Olivia, I just told, my principal, whatever you need me to do this year, I'll do it. So that's how I got into virtual teaching. Now, I did not always want to be a teacher. I decided to become a teacher later on. I had a teacher kind of in my, growing up, sixth grade, that wasn't very friendly and nice to me, kind of put me down. And because I, had a learning disability, not being able to read and stuff like that. So then I just thought teachers weren't very good at first. And then later on in school, high school, it was actually my senior year, I had a teacher in math that just kind of poured into me and just changed my opinion on teachers. And then I saw that teacher, and it kind of changed my mind. Like, you know what? Just one person can change the way I felt like as a student, then I want to do that to others. So that's why I decided to become a teacher. And I knew I wanted to teach younger grade just because of the struggle I had in reading. So I knew I wanted to help.
That's really cool. And so that it's kind of like come full circle, because now you help kids learn how to read.
Yes.
And you're phenomenal at helping kids learn how to read too. Like everybody knows that. Like we want Miss Tubb to help our kids learn how to read.
That's where my heart is like reading with them, helping them read. That's where it's at.
When I taught first grade, I don't know what I would have done if it was not.
So y'all taught on the same team?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
She
That's
still
cool.
did now. She was so good in first grade. She doesn't think she was. She was awesome.
I just don't think it's my calling.
I know first grade could not be my calling. I taught sixth grade and eighth grade, a little bit of high school, and that's about as low as I could go. So tell us what a typical day as a virtual teacher is like. So I know every school across America now has started virtual teaching on a whim, almost all of a sudden we're all teaching virtually, and everybody has different models. So even within probably our building, your days probably look a little bit different. So what is it like for you as a virtual teacher? What's like a typical day?
So I start every morning at 8:15 and do morning meeting. So everybody joins that meeting, and we do just our mentor sentence grammar lesson and talk about good things and just let everybody share that wants to. And then after that, I only do small groups. So right now I have 5 reading small groups. And in that time, I do a 10 to 15 minute reading mini lesson that is content based on current content. And then I do guided reading. And then I have 3 math small groups that are on current content as well. And then I have some open times so that if there are kids struggling with anything that I can, call them in for just a reteach during that time.
And about how many students do you have like working through that system?
In a group?
Or just in general in your class?
Oh, I have 30.
30
students total. And so my reading groups vary. Like I have one group that just only has about 2 kids in it, and then I have some groups that have 5 to 7. And math is 10 since there's 3 groups. Yeah. And then we have content that is, I always get the terms confused, asynchronous and synchronous.
Okay, yeah.
So we have content that the district pushes out for us as well. And so the kids do their science that way and their writing that way. And then we conference with them on those subjects as well.
That's cool. So what does that look like at first grade, Lori?
Okay, so same thing, morning meeting, good things, because that's really, just like in the classroom, everyone wants to share with everything. So I have to kind of limit mine. I do about 3 a day because they would talk forever, and they do.
Yeah.
But then we do mentor sentence, and in first grade I do a calendar with them because we're big on like a math calendar, just learning the days of the week, the months, things like that, and I incorporate some math skills in there too, like 10 more, 10 less, things that we've talked about, so we can build on it, spiraling it. And then I do 2 more lives with them, an ELAR live and a math live for 30 minutes each, and I'll do hit on some phonics skills with them during that time, and then do our shared reading and then read aloud and work on sight words. And then math, I'm just teaching the new concept for them. And then I have small groups, reading groups. I meet with 4 groups a day. And then math groups, I do 2 math groups a day as well. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, kind of like how Olivia has an open session time, I meet with each kid individually for only 8 minutes. And so that's when I can look at their writer's workshop, because any other time I can't see their writer's workshop. So that's kind of like the one-on-one time that I can meet with them. It doesn't seem long, just 8 minutes, but trying to get through, because I have 29 kids, it takes, all day to do that. But then I have, let's see, do the live and that. And then kind of like she was saying, the district provides us some videos. And so we're watching those, and then the kids will do activities go with it. After the math live session, I always do a seesaw or a Canvas activity, a practice for them, so I can see how they're doing, if I need to work on it during their math small group time too.
Cool.
So
what are some things that you've learned so you were both phenomenal teachers before becoming virtual teachers, face-to-face. I mean, you're still teachers, but we were talking earlier when we talked that it's kind of like a first year of teaching all over again, because you're learning so much new things in these new experiences. So what is something that you've learned through this experience of teaching virtually that you think other teachers, like face-to-face or virtual teachers, should know? Or even that if tomorrow you went back face-to-face, you're like, yes, I would change my practices and do this. What are some things that you've learned through this experience that others could benefit from?
I think the importance of small groups is something that I've learned. And I've always done, for the past few years, I've done guided reading. So that wasn't necessarily a struggle for me, but math groups were a struggle, and just bringing them to the table and knowing what to do with them when they get to the table, being prepared for that, and, teaching the current content at the table and going back as needed. But it's just so important to do that in a smaller session than it is whole group. And I see that so much more now.
So do you think that if and when you went back face to face, you would do more of that in the classroom?
Yeah, I would keep my math lesson very short, like everyone has been telling me to do. Bring them to the table.
And why do you think it's like, what do you see as a benefit? Like, are you seeing that kids are getting it more, or you're able to see what they're getting and not getting? Like, what do you think is the benefit of it?
I feel like I can go a lot deeper with them, and I can see what they're not getting because they're close. And I mean, whenever I have done whole group, I am very much at the carpet with them, which is a little harder this year.
They're probably sitting on the carpet somewhere
Yeah.
virtually.
Yeah. And so I would always bring them to the carpet, and so I could see. But if they're at the table, you can really focus in on what they might be not getting or might not be understanding, and fix that right there.
Yeah.
Without embarrassing them. But if they're at the carpet with 15 to 20 of their peers, and you call them out, it's kind of like how Lori was talking about that teacher that really, put her down in front of everybody. Like it's a lot more harmful to them in front of all of their peers like that than it might be at a table of only 4 to 5 kids.
Yeah.
Because probably the other 3 kids at the table needed to hear whatever you were saying too.
That's true.
What do you think, Lori?
Tell me the question again. It was like, what did I learn?
What would you take? What could other people learn from your experience, or what would you take back if you went back face to face tomorrow?
Well, I've always thought I've had like good relationship with my students and stuff, asking things like that. And being a virtual teacher, I realize it's not as strong as I want it to be. So I do make it a point to, when I do like their one-on-ones each week, to talk about, hey, what's going on in your life? How are, what did you do fun? Just building that relationship, because I don't have that. And I think sometimes as teachers, we take that for granted, having kids in the classroom, which now I realize I probably did, because you can ask them anytime, oh, what are you doing today? Oh, you have soccer, things like that. So I realized that the relationship that we build with our students in the classroom is huge. It makes a huge impact, not only on them, but me as a teacher as well. Then also, there's another thing is Canvas. I've really enjoyed Canvas. I know some people will be surprised by that, but like I have seen, I was always like, why do I have to do Canvas? I don't want to do it. But I've seen the huge impact having everything in one place and keeping like grades in Canvas too, because we have this part where, it's like a speed grader. You click on speed grader and it pulls up all the kids' assignments, and then you can just, with the rubric, click on what, why did the kid miss it? This is why you got this many points, instead of trying to explain it to a parent, or parents are like, why did my child receive, a 60 when we did all this? So I really enjoy that. And I think I'm going to keep that when I go back into the classroom, is keeping Canvas as grades like that. So I can just input them real quick, and parents have it right then and there too. Like they don't have to wait for a Tuesday folder, or be like, well, me saying, I gave it to your child. I gave them their paper. Well, they lost it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell you why, they missed things. So I really have enjoyed that.
Well, in that rubric grading, you can go, Olivia, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I find that I grade so much faster in Canvas than I do.
Yeah.
Which is so weird, because it is just the exact same thing. It's just on a computer screen.
It is.
Because you're faster on a computer now.
I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I found that as a teacher, I always like grading with the rubric, because I felt like it took out the subjectivity of it. It was just more objective at each individual part. But so I have a first grader, and she is not virtual, but she's face-to-face. So she has the paper copy of those rubrics coming home. And as a parent, it's so informative to know exactly what part she got and what part she didn't get, and to understand not just why is my kid making a good grade or a bad grade, like what does my child understand, and if not, what can I help her with? And so I agree with what you're saying. Even on the parent side, like that's a huge, to be able to see that and know really quickly what she needs help with, helps us support the teacher at home too.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so our final question, and thank you guys so much for joining me today, because this is going to be one of my best webinars yet, I feel like. It's only number 3, but
we made the top 3 so far.
Yeah.
What encouragement do you want to share with other teachers? So I want to leave it on a high note. Like, what can you share out with the staff or other teachers to encourage them as you leave this webinar today?
I would just say that if you're giving it your best and you're giving this year 100%, then that is enough. And it may not feel like it's enough all the time, but it is enough, and you're doing a good job.
I like it. That's good.
I agree with you completely. Also, kind of like what she's saying, I think that like we have to, we're doing everything we can right now, and we might not think we're impacting, because we might feel down on ourselves for what we're doing, but when seeing those kids smile and just having the joy of as a teacher, because we can put it on, we can smile for them, and just seeing them smile and them saying, thank you, Miss Tubb, or, I love you. I had one kid that made this little sign that held it up, kind of like what we did last year. Held it up and said, thank you, Miss Tubb, for teaching me. You're the best. So just know that we are impacting these kids, even though we might not think, but we are doing our best.
That's cool. I've been I was listening to a podcast on education the other day, and the episode I was listening to talked about like the number of kids in like the juvenile detention centers who can't read, and just the difference that makes, that ability to read makes in your life overall. And that's what I want to leave with you guys too, even you two that join, like what we're doing makes a difference in a kid's life for the rest of their life. And so even though 2020 is hard, and it's probably the hardest year that we've all had in education,
right?
It makes a huge difference. The gift that you're giving them of your time and the skill that you have to teach them and encourage them and build those relationships makes all the difference in the trajectory of their lives. And so thank you guys for showing up every day and making a huge difference, and for encouraging the other teachers. Is there anything else you want to say while you have the spotlight?
I think all teachers are amazing right now. Kind of like what you said, what we're going through. In-person teachers, y'all are awesome. I do not know how you're all doing it, making sure all the kids are like staying apart, wearing their masks, hand sanitizing, everything.
I got mine right here.
Yeah, kudos to you all. I'm so proud of all the virtual teachers, and the in-person and also the virtual teachers as well. We are doing a great job, and I'm proud of everyone.
Yep. I agree. Well, thank you both for joining me today. Thank you to you guys who are watching at home or wherever you're watching from this. If you want to subscribe to the webinar, you are more than welcome to. You can click it in the links and you can subscribe to have these emailed to you bi-weekly. And again, thank you for joining us.
Bye.